Welcome to my video on the procedure for solving algebraic word problems. This video is going to explain the steps used to solve a word problem. May it be a linear word problem, quadratic, cubic, any type of word problem that your algebraic word problem you're going to do in math. Step 1 is write an expression for each unknown. Step 2 is write an equation. Step 3 is solve the equation. Step 4 is find the values of each unknown. And step 5 is check the values, or what we call the solutions to the problem. Step 1. The unit on writing algebraic expressions for a single variable explains how to write expressions for each unknown. I did a unit on that, and you should review that unit before you try to solve any word problem. But if you can't write out the algebraic expressions, you're not going to get the right equation, and you will not get the right solution. So step 1 is write an expression for each unknown. Step 2, write an equation. In each sentence, number 1, the verb is represented by the equal sign. Number 2, substitute the expression for each unknown. I will do these examples that you see down below to explain this. The examples, we're not going to solve the equation. I'm going to show you how to write them. I'm going to use these two, let x be the smaller number and let x plus 6 be the larger, to explain, after you write the expressions, which is the first step, how to fill them into the sentence that's in the word problem. Here we go. Twice the smaller number is the larger number. So it says that is the equal sign. Twice the smaller number is x, so there's the smaller number x. The larger number is x plus 6, so if I write that above each of these, that's what I do. Now I read twice the smaller, so that's twice, means multiply, is the larger. Now the 2 bracket x don't have to be, you can write down just 2x equals x plus 6. I'm just putting in that in a bracket to show you that 2 times. B, the sum of the numbers is 30. So if x is the smaller number, so the smaller number, add on the larger number. And if I want to put 2 numbers in brackets, you can, because that's the smaller, that's the larger, is the equal sign, 30. But if you were doing that, you can just write down, without the brackets, just write down the smaller number is x, add on the larger number equals 30. Remember, we're not solving the equation, we're just rewriting. C, the larger number minus 10 is triple the smaller. Again, is the equal sign. Some people fill that in first. Then the larger number, well, that's the n plus 6. Smaller number, x plus 6. Sometimes we use n, sometimes we use x's. Don't make any difference what variable, as long as for that problem, you keep using the same variable. So the larger number is x plus 6, smaller number is x, is the equal sign. Now let's write out the equation. The larger number minus 10, so the larger number is x plus 6, I'm going to put it in brackets, minus the 10, is the equal sign, triple the smaller. So triple is 3 times the smaller. So I'm putting the multiplication in a bracket, but I don't have to. I could write down x plus 6, the larger number, minus 10 is 3 times the smaller, without writing the brackets in. But I'm only putting brackets in to show you that there's a multiplication on the go here, or that's the larger number and that's the smaller number. D, 5 times the smaller plus 6 is the larger increased by 8. So again, is the equal sign. The smaller number, we look up at top, the smaller number is x, and the larger number is x plus 6. Okay, we got that. So 5 times the smaller, so that's 5 times bracket plus 6 is equal sign. Larger number, which is x plus 6, you want a bracket, increase by is add 8. Again, the only reason I put this in is to show you that in that bracket, that's the smallest number. In this bracket, that's the largest. You could write it as 5x plus 6 equals x plus 6, add on 8. And again, we're not solving it. We're just showing you how to write. E, twice the larger, subtracted from 18 is the smaller. The larger is x plus 6. The smaller is x. Is the equal sign, fill that in. So let's see, twice the larger subtracted from 18. Subtracted from, we got to reverse it. So that's 18, subtract twice the larger. So it's 2 times x plus 6. Is the equal sign, the smaller x. And again, we're not simplifying this. We're not solving it out. I'm just showing you that is the equal sign. Smaller number, fill it in. Larger number, fill it in. And then write down the expressions. But you had practice with the previous expression on writing algebraic expressions. You had plenty of practice in writing that out. Let's continue. The third step, solve the equation. The unit on solving linear equations with a single variable explains how to solve the equation formed in a word problem. So this unit has to be reviewed, gone over, and understood before you attempt to solve word problems. You have to know how to solve linear equations first. And in my section on Algebra 1, this topic, solving linear equations, is done thoroughly. Review it first. Step 4. Find the value of each variable. Well, let's explain what we mean. Well, we have an example here. Let n be the smaller number. Let n plus 9 be the larger. So if I had an equation written out here, which I don't, but let's pretend, I would solve the equation following that unit I was just talking about in solving linear equations. And after I get the equation solved, I get the answer as n equals 2. And what you do then, you take, there's n is 2. You put the n plus 9 below what n is. And then you put 2 in the place of n. 2 plus 9, and 2 and 9 makes 11. So when you solve the equation, get n, you immediately put equal sign below the equal sign, and you fill in the other unknown, and then you substitute the value into the n and work with the second one. So the small number is, fill it out then, small number is 2, and the large number is 11. B, let n be the first number, and let 3x minus 1 be the second number. So we just read over the sentence, and we wrote down the first number and the second number. We have an equation that we solved. Remember, I didn't show you the equation. And when we solve the equation through, we come up with x equals 7. So x equals 7, that's the first number. Then we write down this one. So there's the equal sign, below the equal sign. So we write down 3x minus 1. And then we fill in the 7 in the place of x. So it's 3 bracket 7 minus 1. We multiply first, that's 21 minus 1. So we get 20. So that means that x is the first number, so then you say the first number is 7, and the second number is 20. So subbing in the 7 into the second unknown gives you the value of that second unknown. So your first number is 7, and the second one is 20. C, this time I have 3. I have consecutive integers. Consecutive integers are n, first one, n plus 1 is the second one, n plus 2 is the third consecutive. So we have an equation. There it is. And pretend we see it. We solved it out, pretend. And we came up with n equals 13. So as soon as you get the value of n, you immediately take the second one and write it below it, which is n plus 1. And then you put 13. N is 13. 13 plus 1. And we get 14. Then you got to write down the third one, n plus 2. And we put 13 in the place of n. So n is 13. 13 plus 2. And we come up with 14. And as you can see, now you have 13, 14, and 15. So your consecutive integers are 13, 14, and 15. So after you get the value, then you have to sub in the second unknown and work that out, or the third unknown, etc., etc. Okay. Step 5. Step 5 is where you check the values of the solutions. So you check if each expression is true, and you check if the equation is true. Let me explain with a couple of examples. Because what happens at times, you might work out the equation and work it out incorrectly. Therefore, the value you get is a wrong value, but you won't know that. So even when you sub it in the second unknown, because the first unknown is wrong, the second one is wrong. So you have to check it into the equation to make sure you're true. Let's explain. Examples. Larger number is 6 more than the smaller. The sum of two numbers is 50. Find the numbers. So let's pretend that we have let x be and the other number is x plus 6, etc. We write out the equation, all done. And after solving the equation for x equals 24, you automatically put the 24 into the x here to get 30. So you have the two answers as 24 and 30, which is 24 add on 6 is 30. So these two numbers are, as far as you're concerned, are true. But what happens is you should check back into the equation. So we know that you have the smaller number. The smaller number is 24. We know the larger number is 30. But is it true? Now we got to check the sum of the two numbers. So the sum of the two numbers, we're going to check with this equation now. The sum of the two numbers is 54. So 24 add on 30 gives you 54. So that equation is true. This 30 is 6 more than 24. That's true. Therefore, we know that the smaller number is 24, the larger number is 30, because we checked it in the sum of the two numbers also. Let's look over B now as another example. The complement of an angle is twice the measure of the angle. So we're going to let's see, we're going to say let x be the measure of the angle. Watch now, x is the measure of the angle. And the complement is 90 minus x be the complement. Okay, complement of the angle. And it says now, when you write out, after you get the answer, so let's pretend you write down the equation, and let's pretend that you solve it out, and when you solve it out, you come up with x equals 30. So you come up with x is 30. X is the measure, so the measure of the angle is 30. 90 minus x is 90 minus 30. So you come up with this complement as 60. So whatever you get for x, you're going to work out this complement correctly. So we got to check to see if these two answers are okay. Yes, they add up to 90, but we have to check in the sentence. This is the sentence we're going to check. The complement of an angle. So the complement of an angle is 60. So 60 is twice the measure. Twice the measure of the angle is 30. So 60 equals 60. So that's true. So therefore, what we have is that the angle, the measure of, find the measure of the angle. So we say, we checked it out. The measure of the angle is 30. So again, we check it back into the unknowns, make sure they're okay, and make sure it fits the equation. And when it does, everything is okay. Everything is all right. So just as a reminder, let's find that sheet that I got to look for now. All right. Let's review again. In solving word problems, we write the steps in our mind. We keep going over. Write an expression for each unknown. Write an equation. Solve the equation. Find the values of unknown and to check to see if those solutions are correct. So I will do many word problems following this order on all types of word problems, on numbers, consecutive numbers, age and value, etc., etc., etc. So many more videos coming up on solving. But this introduction helps you to get an understanding of how we're going to solve the word problems and the procedure you use. Follow it correctly, write it down, memorize it. If you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, click the notification bell, and write a comment on my video if you wish, if you are a subscriber. And visit my math website at mathfullyexplained.com, www. And I have 3 sections. First section is on me, my degrees and teaching experience. Second section on video talks about the strategies I'm going to use to help you learn your math. And the third section on content talks about the videos, and the number talks about the units and the number of videos that I'm going to have in each of those units. The black font is what's online right now, and the red font is what I will be putting online in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.